Helen Alli is a Democratic candidate for the Congressional 7th District. She is a committed public servant who wears a willing yes on her sleeve and whose courage and steadfast intention to effect change is evident and infectious. A daughter of Cuban descent, she exudes pride in her heritage as a woman of the African diaspora, in country as an Army veteran, and has a unique approach to effecting change. One thing she emphasizes is whether or not she wins, she will have shamed her opponents in a gerrymandered red district to adopt elements of her platform and take them to Washington. Her objectives will be accomplished. The interview was our first time meeting, and it became evident early on that Helen is a driven leader who is not afraid to challenge systems and debunk myths about the capabilities of women's presence and participation in politics. It is our sincere hope that every eligible individual is registered to vote and that you show up and bring others to the polls.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another segment of Business Acumen with Cross Cultural Talks. I am your host, Robinette Cross, and today I have with me one of the candidates for Senator for the 7th District, Ms. Helen Alli. And I asked Helen to be on this show because she is really fighting for the blue seat in the 7th District. And so, Helen, thank you so much for joining us. I see that you are all over the place doing so many things. So thank you for taking the time to really sit down with us and talk to us on this show today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Now it's the 7th District Congressional seat though instead of the Senate seat. But
oh, I'm sorry.
The 7th I have to graduate to the Senate seat.
I'm sorry, 7th District Congressional seat. I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay.
And so you were telling me off camera all of the places that really comprise your district. So how far do you go? You're in Glen Allen, and you stretch how far?
Okay, so it's Western Henrico, and it goes all the way out through Amelia, and then it goes all the way to Nottoway, and then it goes all the way to Spotsylvania. So it's 9 counties in total, so it's really a large district and very highly gerrymandered.
For those people who may be tuning into the show who are not as familiar necessarily with the terminology gerrymandered or gerrymandering, would you please explain that?
Yeah, so what that is that's where a district is drawn by one party to benefit them. So it was drawn by the Republicans, and so it's very difficult for Democrats to win in these districts because it's stretched out in where Republicans would normally be. So you don't find a lot of Democrats in Louisa and Powhatan and things of that nature, even though we're slowly turning those areas blue. But we want to have the districts drawn so that it's equal, so that no party would have an advantage.
Right, so it's fair representation on all sides.
Right. Exactly.
So what made you want to run for office in the first place, Helen?
Yeah. Well, I have been in business for a long time, and I've been behind the scenes working for various causes. I've been on the board of the Richmond Economic Development Authority, and that was to try to bring economic development into our area. And so I've done a lot of things behind the scenes, but through all of that, I keep hearing all these cries. There's a lot of cries from people that are feeling a lot of pain, and there's a lot of things going on that our government just isn't addressing. And so I was really concerned that we were losing our voices all over. I mean, minorities and religions, and to prisons and violence. And so I had been concerned for a while, but when Donald Trump got elected in 2016, it was definitely in 2017. 16.
16.
Right? Yeah, 16.
The election was in 16.
Ooh. It's been a while.
Yes.
So I knew that it wasn't going to get easier.
Right.
You know, and so I thought about it for a long time, and I went to a women's march, and I decided, you know, if we don't start to take care of ourselves, that no one's going to do it. And so we have to step up to the plate and put ourselves out there and help create some of these laws.
Yeah, help create some of these laws. And so you said that you have a background in business and behind the scenes. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What did you do before you stepped into politics?
I actually still own a healthcare clinic. It's a medical clinic in Glen Allen, and we specialize in biohormone replacement therapy and medical weight loss. And the clinic was open to bring affordable health care into the district and help fight obesity. And the thing is that with insurance, it doesn't cover the procedures. And so it's very expensive, and so we decided to open the clinic to be able to give these services to people that really desperately need them at a third of the cost.
That's great.
So yeah, and so I'm passionate about healthcare, which is why I definitely want to go to Washington and create a program that's going to work for everybody, that's all inclusive, because I think people deserve to have healthcare.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone deserves to have healthcare and to have benefits that, you know, healthcare and family benefits, maternity leave, paternity leave, you know, when you adopt a child, having leave to bond, to have health insurance, to be able to, and to not be canceled out because you have a pre-existing condition, you know, to really say, okay, you are our tax-paying citizen and we want to help take care of you.
Right.
And it really come from a genuine place.
Right.
So how do we make those things affordable and not worry about so much that there's care available but you can't afford it, so you're excluded from that. Right. So thank you very much for your heart in trying to do that.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, it is actually better plans that are available. But for whatever reason, and you know, we have a strange country in which we live in, and they don't always want to protect everyone. And so I want to go towards a Medicare for all. And so what it does, it's like a universal policy, and everyone just is automatically included. And so you have the young with the old, and you know, the sick and the healthy. And so what it would do is it would bring premiums down for everybody. I mean, way lower than what they are now.
That would be great.
Yeah, so I want us to move to something like that. But there's a lot of people that are hesitant to want to do it because, you know, they just don't want to. They're just mean, to tell you the truth. And so it's going to take someone to fight for it, and I'm prepared to be that person.
Ultimately, in terms of politics and your business and your personal life, what is one of the major blueprints that you want to leave? When they think of Helen Alli, what do you want to say that your legacy was that you left?
You know, I've always been a fighter for the underdog. Like, I just want everybody to genuinely have the American dream and experience it. I don't think that should be for a few. I think it should be for anyone who wants it, and it should be achievable. And so I'm going to do everything I can. I've always done everything I can to make sure people's lives are happier and easier.
I applaud you for even being able to cast your net wide enough to say, how can we make it fair across all of this territory? And then, of course, when we graduate to the Senate seat, what can I do? Because ultimately, you are living a life of service to this country. So thank you for even wanting to do that. Sometimes people look at it and they say, I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's too big a job for me. So what made you think you could do it?
Well, you know, when I was very young, I will start with this. My grandmother came from Cuba in 1932 by herself. Like, she came with the clothes on her back, and she left her family and friends and everything, never to turn back, never to talk to them again because she wanted the American dream. I'm named after her. So
well.
I have that same kind
there you go.
that same kind of spirit. And,
yes.
you know, I'm an Army veteran, and so I just always wanted to protect the Constitution, because that's the thing, those rights, those privileges, those things that, you know, that get you to the American dream.
Yes.
Everybody needs to be able to do that. And so I thought I could do this because I didn't do as much research. I did very little research. I just kind of jumped in, and I think if you do a thorough analysis of it, people probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because it's way, way more than what I thought it would be. But it's been very challenging. It's been, I've had some really great times, some high moments, some low moments. It's, it's been, because I've been doing this now for about 10 months.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a while. So the primary is June 12th, and then the general election would be in November.
That's amazing.
So most importantly, though, we need to make sure that everyone gets involved in our politics.
Everyone. So what does that look like? Because if you don't want to run for a congressional seat, if you don't want to run for Senate, then what are some suggestions maybe that you have? Because I'm a teacher. And Thank you. Well, we do a job, don't we?
Yes.
It's a blessing. It is a blessing.
Yes.
But I teach at, as many of our viewers know, at the Maggie Walker Governor School.
Oh, wonderful.
And so our students, they are very well equipped with understanding policy, with understanding politics, with understanding civic duty. Mm-hmm. But if you don't want to take the road of the public realm, what can you do behind the scenes as support, making sure that you're doing your part?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things, because everything, and I mean everything, impacts our lives and our children's, most importantly, because they're going to be coming up.
Right.
So even if you're doing brownies, Cub Scouts, I kid you not, it's from very, very, very early on is what's going to impact these children and let them think that they can do things. If you look at what's happening in our society now, and you look at what these children have been going through, and the parents didn't even know that they were going through some of these things,
Right.
So, and it's school board, it's, it's city council, it's, it's the board of supervisors, it's a lot, it's the House of Delegates. The delegates is really important.
Right.
Really important.
Right.
And Virginia has elections every single year for something.
Yes, they do.
I mean, you have governor, you have mayors, you have a lot of things. You have the district attorney's office.
You do, yeah.
But the reason I say if we don't get involved, then even as women, women make up over 50% of the population.
We sure do.
And yet we only have 20% in Congress. And so that's how you get men up there telling us how we should use our reproductive areas and what should happen with them. And so we never want to have that happen.
Right.
It's our fault for not going and running.
Right. No, you're right, because I teach a class called, one of the classes I teach is Gender and Culture in the Middle East and North Africa. And one of the big pieces of that class is that I take my students to Morocco, my seniors to Morocco once a year. Because I have just kind of educational roots there. And one of my seniors last year did a project on Tunisia. So we know that the Middle East and North Africa was really big on the Arab Spring. They had an Arab Spring back in 2011 into 12. And so they had to rebuild their government. So you're talking about sometimes having to, what does that look like, having to rebuild an entire government, an entire economic system. And Tunisia was where the catalyst area. And to do research now, there are more women in government, the percentage-wise, in Tunisia than there are in the United States of America.
Wow, yeah, that's impressive.
They went through a revolution in a place where people often tag women as being underrepresented, underserved, and oppressed. And they have a larger percentage in government than we do.
That does not make any sense. I mean, this is supposed to be the land of the free, the home of the brave.
Yes.
And yet we are nowhere near there.
Nowhere.
Our pay is nowhere near equal.
No.
We have to fight for that. We have to fight for a lot of things in this country. So we need a lot of people stepping up to fight.
Yes. We need everybody, all hands on deck.
All hands
All
on
hands
deck.
on deck.
All nationalities, all religions,
Mhm.
LGBTQ. Everybody's got to come and do their part and get in the legislation so that we become a legislator so that we can, make this country the way we want to make it. So the most important thing for the state level offices or the federal level offices is that you just volunteer to do it. Step up and say, I'm going to do it. All of them pay, so it's not like you're going to do it for free. They pay pretty well. But the most important reason why you want to run for something is because you get a chance to put a platform together that you get a captive audience with, that you get to talk about. And if your opponents want to win, then they will adopt your platform as well. So no matter who wins, you win. So in doing that, I was able to get gun control signed by 2 candidates, opponents. And so they will be going to Washington to ban assault rifles, ban bump stocks, and call for universal background checks. And so that would have never happened if I didn't shame them into doing it. And I have these contracts that I run around with, and I say, I'm the only candidate in the whole district that's doing this. And I got contracts on my website that you could go see. And by the next day, they all have that information on their website. So if everybody's doing that in all of our communities, then we can probably get the things we need passed, like like criminal justice reform and police reform. That's very, very important. So we need you to run whether you think you can do it or not.
Right, because in the end, just change your perspective of what winning looks like. That's really the ticket, right? Winning does not mean you have the seat all the time. What is the goal that you set out to achieve from this campaign? As long as you can hit that goal, even if you haven't reached that seat, you have affected change.
That's right.
That's the key.
That's right. And you've changed that dialogue about I changed the dialogue about African American women that Donald Trump was trying to use for a long. It's like, well, they don't do anything, they don't want anything. Can't say that now. Mm-hmm. Here I am. It looks like me. Black women do. So, so as long as we're all running, we'll be able to put in front of their faces, who we really are.
Right. Who we really are. Right, and I would say, to add to that, one of the biggest things that you can do is exercise that civil right and civic muscle and vote. Oh, because yeah. just like you said, Ms. Helen, we have, in Virginia, you just mentioned 2 opportunities to vote this year alone. You have to have, for those who are Democrats, you have the Democratic primary, and then you have the general election. Every single time you have the opportunity to vote, not only do you have the right, but you have the responsibility to go and do it. So first things first, and moms, take your daughters. Dads, take your sons. Parents, take your kids. Let them see what it's like to be able to cast a vote and to celebrate that. Even if the outcome is not what you wanted, you did your duty. And so you've been doing your duty all your life. Mm-hmm. You are a veteran from the United States Army. Mm-hmm. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. But no, it's very important, and it's not. They can't wait till they get an adult.
Right.
Just in high school. If they're 17 this year, they can register to vote. But yeah, so this year, these are very, very important elections. Mm-hmm. So everybody needs to get registered to vote.
Get registered to vote. Mm-hmm. And I love the platform. One of the platforms on which you're running, and I know usually as a candidate you would have to have kind of multiple points that you use. One of them, is healthcare, mm-hmm. and another one is for minorities and women. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Do you have any more that you want to share?
Yeah. Like, one of the main things that keeps getting thrown under the rug is criminal justice reform. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's probably, all of them are important.
Right.
But, we spend $82 billion a year to incarcerate people, and what that equals is somewhere between $20,000 and $55,000 per year per person. And
salaries.
Yeah, and like 70% of the people that are in prison don't belong there. like they need rehab or something like that, mental health services.
Yeah.
And so we're spending all that money when we need to be doing other things with that money.
Yeah.
So I want to get people out of jail.
Get people out of jail, back up recidivism rates. So we are going to make sure that we show up at the primary. Those of you who are in the 7th Congressional District, show up, especially Democrats. Show up for that primary in June. Show up for the general election in November. Miss Helen, I want to say thank you from my heart for you spending time, because you have such a big schedule.
Yeah.
Make sure that you go out, you can connect with her. She's really a beautiful spirit. Always a yes. She didn't even know me and she said yes. She came 28 minutes because she said yes. So please make sure that you are supporting her in every way you can. Support yourselves and support this nation. And if you want to contact, if you want to get in touch with this brilliant mind, even if you don't live in the 7th Congressional District, if you want to connect with Helen Alli, which I promise you do, then let's tell them how they can, please.
Go to my website, www.alli, A-L-L-I, F-O-R-V-A.com, and just send me an email. I will travel throughout Virginia. I love this place, so I want everybody doing well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, really, from our hearts. We really appreciate you taking the time. I pray for victory for you, for blessings to surround you, for angels to encamp around you while you're traveling. I pray for your traveling mercies. I pray that you are sustained through this, that you have miraculous, immediate, and divine restoration for every ounce of energy you've poured into this cause. As someone who's not even in the congressional district that you share, as a woman who shares the same diaspora connection as you, I am proud of you and I'm grateful. So thank you very much for coming out. God bless you all.
God bless you.
Be sure to join us same time, same place, 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time next Saturday, where we will highlight another Titan. Thank you again for tuning in, and don't forget to go and be great on purpose. God bless you.